All right, RJ. That's got to be one of the worst hockey games I've ever seen.
Absolutely. I mean, where to begin? That was a train wreck. I don't know what else to call that. Wow.
It was atrocious. Was gonna show off Afra's Kraken jersey, hopefully after a win over the Desert Dogs, but that did not happen. She is
I
here as an emotional support dog right now after that
Yep.
game.
I think we all could use the emotional support right now. Um, that was bad.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't even really know entirely where to start, and you know, hi to
I've been
every.
trying to think, where do we start here? I mean, you could go all along the whole game and you could point out certain things. I know right before we started the video, you're asked about the whiteboard, like, you're gonna break. There's nothing to break down here. I mean, I don't think you need a whiteboard. Anyone who was watching saw the multiple players left wide open at the end. The defensive breakdowns, the puck watching in the defensive zone. I mean, Dylan, you and I both coach squirt hockey teams. We have that experience. And didn't that look familiar? That puck watching in the defensive zone on their worst days. That's what it reminded me of.
Right, that's like first game of a squirt season, where you have like all the 9-year-olds that aren't really used to playing this kind of organized hockey, right? They're really now just learning defensive assignments and all that stuff, right? Like that's the kind of stuff that reminded me of, is those first couple games of the season while you're still trying to teach them all of that stuff. But oh my gosh, to just do that at the NHL level and to do it so consistently, like, it's happening. It happened the whole second period, and then to come out and just do that again in the third period, and to do it after you tie it up.
You looks like you might even get away with it. You could have a chance to win ugly, and then immediately go back to playing that way in the defensive zone. I I have no words. That's all I was able to tweet really at that point. I just could not believe it. Um, uh, I mean, let's turn to chat here because otherwise we're just going to be
Yeah, I
speechless.
know, I know. We'll talk some more a little bit later, but we'll get to chat here. Uh, hi ho, Grubauer has got to go. It's the first thing in chat.
Oh my.
It,
Okay, I mean, we might as well talk about Grubauer
yeah,
because coming into this game, and this is one of the things I've noticed. This is before any of this happened in this game. He ranked 69th out of 74 goalies in the NHL in goals saved above expected, which is like my goalie stat of choice that I like to look at. I think it's probably the one that explains things the best. Which is it's just not good enough, and I don't think he really helped his case in this game either.
no, and I mean, even just starting with the decision to start him at all, I think was a little head scratching for a lot of us, right? Like,
Yeah, we talked
Drieger's
in post game how we both would have started Drieger. I think we said that last post game.
for sure, and I think everybody in chat agreed with us. Like, it just seemed like the natural spot. He's just come back from injury. It's just against the Coyotes. Like, this is the place to ease him back into the lineup, see what we've gotten him, because really we haven't since the regular season started. That was just, yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of, I don't want to say that I've been making excuses for Grubauer when I've been trying to like kind of break down and see what happened. More like I'm just trying to explain what happened when he lets in seemingly soft goals. There are a couple tonight that I can't even do that for, because I just don't even know.
Right, and on the Lawson Krause goal, I was looking at because one of the things you've
Which
talked about
one?
is like you can't see the release. Yeah.
Lawson
Okay.
Krause
Fair
had
enough.
multiple goals in this game. That tells you everything you need to know.
Oh no. Oh, exactly. Off. I was gonna say the one off the turnover behind the net. That doesn't narrow it down.
No, it doesn't.
Uh, man. But I was looking for like, was the release covered up? Could he see the shot? I think he could the whole way.
Yeah.
And it starts at the start of the game, giving up a goal on the first shot of the goal of the game. That's the fourth time through 12 games that's happened. That's too much. That just can't happen. I don't care about quality shots, whatnot. It just can't. You can't start like that.
Yeah. One of the things that second period was it reminded me of the Flyers game. Like that whole second period was just the Flyers game. And that continued into the third period. And one of the things I did think about was I was like, do you pull? It was hard because it's like, what's the score at that point? You're coming into the third. I mean, it's
3-2. They were up 3-2.
Yeah, you're up 3-2, so you can't swap goalies. But it was obvious that Hackstall had to do something to wake this team up, and you can't pull a goalie when you're up, I guess, right? Like that would be horrible. But at the same time, like
that would look pretty bad.
Maybe it would have helped.
Hey, credit to Torini real quick for pulling his goalie less than a minute in. That or yanking his goalie. Like that's bold. Great move.
Super great move. That's exactly what you have to do though. Like your team is obviously not ready for this game to start. So you gotta, wake them up, get them engaged, and it also gives you a chance to slow things down for a sec, right? Like 59 seconds in, you're down by 2. Here's about a minute. Right. Here's about a minute you've got for everybody to take a breath, reset, go out there and do what they need to do. And what do? They go and they score on their first shot of the game. So that was a great move by him. Sad R2D2 noise. Boy, I would try to make the sad R2D2 noise right now if I felt a little bit better. I can't, but 100% agree, Alex. Can't blow a lead like that to the worst team in the league. 100% agree. This team was 0-10-1 coming into this game. They now have a win in the win column. They got a 1 there because of us.
And this is in my morning brief article that I put out, I have my 3 keys to the game for every game. First key, don't get complacent. Yes, I know this is an 0-10-1 team. Yes, I know they're on the second half of back-to-backs. This is probably the easiest matchup on paper that the Kraken are going to face all season. Best situation of any single game. And you've just got to try and put that out of your mind. And I think they did that well to start the game. And then once they get out to the 3-1 lead, I think it started to sink in a little bit like, oh yeah, we're playing the worst team. We're up 3-1. We can coast now.
Right.
At the NHL, at that level, you underestimate your opponent at your own peril. As we've seen, any team can beat any other team on any given night. Yep. And the Kraken had to learn that lesson the hard way.
Right. I mean, we both said that kind of previewing this game after the end of the last one. At the end of the Buffalo game, we brought that up, that you just can't do that. It's just rough. I feel sick. Same. Finally able to join live, and it's after this sigh from Rexology. I am sorry about that.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I feel you there, but glad to have you with us for this. Want to see some more of Drieger. 100% agree with that one. It was ugly. Worst power play in the league from Creative Moxie. Yeah, so Vegas went 2 for 2 on the power play tonight. I believe that
statistically that is now true.
Right. I believe that made them, I think, 2 for 21 on the season. Kraken go 0 for 2 on the power play. Coyotes go 1 for 1 on the power play, thanks to Phil Kessel. I think the Kraken, I haven't done the math, but the Kraken,
I have.
Okay, are the Kraken the worst power play in the league now?
Yes, they are.
All right, I thought so.
Yep. I did the math thinking that something like this might, or at least like an early power play goal for the Coyotes could happen. I wanted to see if that would do it. Mm-hmm. Yes, it did. The Kraken now statistically have the worst power play in the NHL. And, I know that Hackstall has been saying, we've been getting good looks, we've been getting good chances. And like that one in the last game was basically a power play goal. Mm-hmm. I'll give you that, sure. Mm-hmm. But like whether it's 3 for 38 or 4 for 38, neither of those is good enough.
No, and I think I don't remember if it was you or the team that tweeted out that at practice yesterday they were working on breakaway stuff, right?
Yep, that was me. Yeah.
Why were you not working on the power play? Every practice should be working on the power play until it's close to league average.
I do think there's been an element of like kind of pride and denial a little bit there, where I just don't think that Hackstall wants to admit that the power play has been a problem. I think you're just kind of hoping that they'd eventually start getting the bounces, it would even out and you wouldn't have to worry about it. I don't know how much you got to take a look in the mirror now. Mm-hmm. You just have to. I think this is the game that kind of forces you to do it.
Yeah, no, you absolutely have to. Yes, they needed to work on breakaways after that last game, but also you can't expect to have what 3 shorthanded breakaways in a game. Like I can count
Yeah,
on
I'm
one.
fine that they worked on it because they only spent like 5 minutes or so. Just everyone took
Yeah,
a little turn taking
it doesn't
breakaways.
matter. It should have
Love
been
that.
3 hours of power
But
play. Like that's all it should have been. Um, yeah, amazing job by the Coyotes to put in Wedgwood. That was a great job by them. That was a very smart move. He played a pretty good game, even though he let in a couple more goals.
mhm.
He has rebound control problems, which we did not take advantage of at all in this game. Um,
No.
but he still played pretty good. He made the saves he needed to make. Each period had its own reason to call their play awful. That's from Alex. Yeah, I would say that for sure.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that assessment.
Yeah, it's just, oh my gosh, it's been so rough. I had a feeling once that second period didn't go the way it usually does. Yes, that I mean this has got to be what the first second period outside of maybe that Flyers game where the Kraken have been easily, you know,
Yep.
universally could be agreed upon as the worst team.
Yep. And I mean, that's, I guess, a sign that something's wrong. But they certainly took their foot off the gas. They got complacent.
Yeah, 2 goal leads, worst lead in hockey. As we know, plenty of things were breaking down there. Yep. Didn't know you were allowed to compete on the back half of a back to back.
Yeah. The Coyotes were on the second half of back to backs. And yeah, they worked hard. I mean, they worked harder than the Kraken did through the second and third, which is when you'd think they'd have the tired legs. I mean, they wanted that win.
Yeah, no, they really did. That's a good one from Autumn. From Sean, is Grubauer aware that goals can be scored between his legs? Hopefully.
That Kessel power play goal was rough. Yes, Grubauer was screened, but still, that's just an area you have to have covered. You've got to have your stick down. You've got to have. I mean, smart by Kessel to see it. Like that's not easy to
Wow.
see and to like take advantage of. But I mean, he's a legend. He's great. We know how good Phil Kessel
Yeah.
is. If you give him that, he's gonna take advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, that's just an area that has to be covered down low.
Yeah, I mean, two things on that. One, I had literally said earlier in that period, I said we should just trade for Phil Kessel right now in game because he'll help us win and it'll hurt their chances. So Coyotes probably would have been on board with that. And two, I mean, what did he do? Oh, they're on the power play. Instead of just, passing it back to the point for the 1,000th time, he stepped up and he took a shot because he thought he saw something. When the Kraken are on the power play, like Yanni Gord tonight never even looked at the net on the power play. He was just playing catch with
Yeah.
Giordano. That's all he was out there to do. Never even thought about taking a shot. Didn't even look that way. Not trying to draw a defender off with his eyes at all. Like it was just so bad. The power play tonight. It looked even
It's about the
worse than
journey,
it
not the
has been.
destination for them. I mean, they're just focused on kind of moving the puck around.
I am all for it. They should start bribing the refs to not call penalties on the other team.
Yeah, there we go. Just feel like
That's
guys.
that's the answer.
Yep.
If you can't
See
decline
you
the
later in the
penalty,
chat. Can we refuse? Yeah, refuse a power play. You can't do that.
no, yeah.
Unfortunately.
Groobs, you know what? The bed tonight. Can he make any timely saves at all? I don't know. It was a rough one for him tonight. A couple more of that. Well, that wasn't the blowout I expected after the first minute. Definitely not. That start was fun. Even with the Coyotes getting one there, you thought you were in for a good night.
That's the first game the last game I can remember where each of the first 3 shots on goal
go
went
in. Yeah, I know.
I can't remember another game specifically. I'm sure it's happened at some point, but I can't remember when.
Yeah. Brian here in the super chat. Thank you for that. For those of you who joined the game later, missed the game entirely, don't feel bad. So did Grubauer.
Oof.
Brutal, but
Rough.
it's.
If it's ever justified,
I know this is
the game.
This is the game. What was different from prior games? No Lauzon. It's from Rexology. Yeah, so I guess that is something to bring up because I thought, here we are again, new D pairings all over the place for everybody. Isn't that exactly what you want to do? I thought Vince Dunn played a horrible first half of this game. He was atrocious. He wasn't in the game at all. It wasn't until the game was close that he really kind of picked things up. The Larson Fleury pairing needs to never happen again.
Absolutely. I mean, that just so many little disasters there in their own zone.
They,
I just
they clearly have no chemistry. They don't know where each other is going to be. Like, they have no experience together, it looked like, at all. Because that was the worst game Adam Larson has played. That's probably the worst game Fleury has played. They just look completely lost on assignments.
yeah. If you're gonna have those 6 defensemen again, give me Fleury done, because that was working at least before.
Right. Yeah, and at least Giordano looked pretty good. I thought he was good tonight.
Yeah, he did.
Shane Wright season. We're just not going to escape that one. Coyotes still got the edge on us there, though.
But, oh yeah, we're trailing by quite a bit in that race.
But if things keep going this way, yeah, maybe we got to turn our eyes to that. Did you see Fleury's frustration in the third? Yeah, so I think it was that first Lawson Krause goal where he just drops his stick, and he looks to the sky. Like that kind of said it all for what was going on at the time for them. I was at the game, man. That was brutal. That's from Hunter. Well, sorry that this was the game you got to go see. That is rough.
I hope the tickets were cheap. Let's just say.
Yeah.
I hope you didn't pay a lot for the tickets.
And I hope you were, surrounded by some Kraken fans. Broadcast made it look like it was at least half.
It looked
Kraken
like there were
fans.
a ton of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully things were good, and the beer was cheaper than at Climate Pledge. This is from Lindsay. Remember on Thursday when I said the Kraken should be able to win this game, barring a catastrophe? That was a catastrophe. It was indeed. I don't think you can, ever plan on anything like this happening. The team just wasn't ready to go. They were ready to go, but they weren't ready to sustain anything. To keep it going. That whole, foot staying firmly on the pedal, flooring it with the energy and all that did not happen this game. Really only the second game all season, we can say that. Or maybe the third, maybe with the Devils game thrown in with the Flyers game. But they just got outplayed, and they didn't seem to want to shake that, really. And that's, I guess, what's most frustrating.
I think they just didn't take their opponent seriously.
Yeah, but
and you just can't do that in this league,
right? But after the second period, that can't be an excuse anymore.
No, it can't. I mean, they've showed you we can play with you, we can hang with you,
right?
And they still just didn't.
So that's on them for not making an adjustment. That's on them for no one really stepping up, right? Like whether it's the coaching staff or it's somebody in the locker room saying hey, we are actually in danger of losing this game. Let's wake up. Let's not, go out there and lose this game by letting Lawson Krause score 2 goals in 1 period. And no one seemed to do that. So that's what's frustrating, because I felt like in every game prior, right, they've always been competitive. They've never looked like they've given up. And in this game, it just didn't look like there was really any fight for the team as a whole. And so that's really what I'm most disappointed in, was just that normal energy and that normal passion and all that stuff that we've been praising through the losses as a reason to stay optimistic. Right. That just wasn't there tonight.
Well said.
Grooves just needs to sit for a while. Yeah. I mean, you have to start Drieger next game, right?
I would think so.
I don't
see as much as against Vegas, Grubauer has done really well in his career, and you'd want to give him that chance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Grubauer should have saved at least 2. Yeah. I want Gord off the half wall. The power play personnel and tactics are still wrong. It's such a mess. There's all sorts of stuff wrong.
They need to just rebuild everything with that. I just think.
Yeah, but yes, I would not have had Gord stay on the wall there. It was clear that he was not doing anything. Like I was saying, I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, it didn't look right. It didn't make sense.
He wasn't active, that's for sure. Lindsay, I would not have started Grubauer, even if Drieger wasn't feeling quite 100% to play this game. They should have played Decord. He has the ASU tie-in, and I think he would have played better here. So that is something, I guess, to bring up. Don't have 3 goalies on the roster, unfortunately, so Decord, probably couldn't have started this game. But yeah, I mean, certainly if Drieger was still out, I think that's something they would have considered, just because, I mean, you kind of have to, just to promote hockey in Arizona. You almost have that responsibility. But yes, I just
Would have been cool for Decord to get that start.
it would have been really fun to watch that. I will add that the person in the middle of the PKers is useless in their current power play setup. So probably the person in the middle of the power play is useless in their current power play setup. That's from Alex. So yeah, the bumper position was useless tonight. I don't think anybody in that position ever touched the puck.
Well, I think one of the things that Kraken's opponents have clued into is that if you take the bumper away, the Kraken are just going to pass the puck around the outside all day and never really threaten you. And or either that or just force the puck to the bumper when it's not there, and then it's a turnover and it's cleared. So I think that's kind of become a key to defending against the Kraken power play, which very predictable. Just take that bumper away and they don't really have a lot to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly been the Kraken's MO. I mean, I don't know how many times I got to bring up how much I hate the 1-3-1 from my Penguins days, but that was the same situation. If the person in the middle wasn't open, Penguins would just pass it around for 1,000 years without taking a shot. Maybe every once in a while, Letang from the point would take a shot. I think that's just one of the flaws of the 1-3-1 is those guys on the half boards, if they're not set up for one-timer opportunities, they are useless. Their shooting angle is horrible, and guys are in the way. Like, and certainly from the point, penalty killers are in the way. Like there's so many limitations to the 1-3-1. I feel that I don't know. You have to
Certainly
move.
given the personnel the Kraken have.
Yeah. It's just there's just no good spot to just rip one from, unfortunately. This is from Cody. Once again, Grubauer letting them in like he's a doorman at a dive bar. Squandered the rest of the team's performance. I mean, the rest of the team didn't exactly play great.
Yeah, I don't know about like
second,
the rest of the team
second
didn't
period
exactly
on.
well enough.
Because yes, there were some that Grubauer should have had. There were some that the defense just was puck watching and they just didn't want to be in the play at all. That Larson Fleury pairing generally was the two that were doing that. It happened at least 3 times, it seemed like. Low point in franchise history. I'd say so.
Yep. I think so.
Hopefully this is the, what would you call the peak of the valley?
I know.
If you're looking at a graph like that, it's the low. I guess this is the low point.
Yeah. I mean,
I like that though. Peak of the valley. It's gonna be my new.
Peak of the valley.
That sounds like a good drink. Let's see here. Another super chat from Brian. Here's $5 for more on-screen quality time with Dylan's dog. Grubauer can't stop pucks like you can't stop a dog's love and healing power. That's right. She's on her bed right down here. I'll grab her in a sec. Let me set you up, RJ, with the next question while I pick her up. Let's see. I'd trust a 2-year-old to save more shots than Grubauer. Coyotes wanted it more. I hope this is a huge lesson for all of us. This is from Scott. If every player didn't smash their stick in half at the end of that, they should get shipped. Wow. The only positive that can come out of this game is that they have experienced a real heartbreaker. They need now to never let this happen again. Yeah, I guess, talk about...
Yeah, because I think you can lump some of these comments together, basically. Yeah. The lessons that can be taken out of this. I mean, even look at, we need to at least get to our worst in order for us to reach our highest. There are certain lessons that the team can take away from this. For one, just someone stepping up and being like, this can't happen. Mid-game adjustments you can make. I think the lessons that you take away from this are, kind of obvious as far as, just respecting your opponent on any given night and just playing the way that you need to play regardless of who's in front of you, worrying about your own game, all those kind of cliche things that coaches talk about, but really doing that. There's that another sports cliche, you win or you learn. And the Kraken just need to learn and take this lesson from tonight. And I think if they really do take the lessons they need to, it could be more valuable even perhaps than the 2 points that they would have gotten from winning.
Yeah, but what are the lessons? Obviously, they're not learning the power play needs to be better lesson. Is the lesson just don't underestimate an opponent? Because that should be part of it. But I
think that's a big one to take away. I think at the end sometimes you have to learn lessons the hard way, even if they're ones that you like you should know. I think back to like being a kid, and even some of the things I knew I shouldn't do, but until I get grounded for it, it doesn't really sink in. And they're like, all right, you're sitting in your room. Okay, yeah, no, I need to not do this again. Sometimes you need to learn things the hard way.
Mm-hmm. More history being made. Biggest poop in the bed in Kraken history.
Yay, dog. Puppy power. Excellent. All better. Thank you, Dylan.
You're welcome anytime.
After's here to help us all out.
Yeah.
12, the most.
12 games in, our power play is non-existent. Our D is suspect, and Groobs is not stealing any games. Also, I really think we are being outcoached as well. That's from Brian. I am finally willing to kind of hop on that, really criticizing Hackstall thing. I've been reluctant to do that in these for a while now, but I just think at this point it is justified after tonight. Like I said, as much as you want someone on the team to really step up and get guys going for that third period and wake them up, coaching staff can do that too. Like that's also, their job. And just the fact that the power play, nothing's changing at all. Because something has to start changing.
Yeah, and I've been willing to give Hackstall the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, it was hard to argue that, with him when he was saying, we're getting good chances against good teams and playing them close. They're just not going for us. And making an honest assessment of watching the game, that is what it looked like to me. You can't claim that with this one. Mm-hmm. There is no way to sugarcoat this or to say that this was acceptable, or I'm interested to see how he handles it in the press conference. I don't think he'll try and to make excuses for the team tonight. I really don't think he is. I do think he has a level of honesty about what he sees out there. So I wouldn't expect that. So we'll see kind of if he's ready to admit that certain things need changing.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, I just want to see something now. Let's see. That leading goal scored seconds after ours in the third, I'm still stunned by. Yeah, so the game winner, right after you tie it up, right, with the empty netter, right, or with the goalie pulled, you tie it up. And again, that one was the most egregious as far as guys just being lazy, puck watching.
Yep. Nobody
was taking assignments. Nobody was trying to do much of anything in that situation. They were just waiting for overtime.
Yep. They figured, all right, cool. We send it to overtime. Let's go.
Right. But there was, a whole minute
like a minute
left
to go.
Yeah. There's a whole minute left.
It's not like there's 10 seconds or something and stuff. Even then, but there's a whole minute.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
You gotta, play to the whistle, so to speak, play to the buzzer.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Maple Leafs flashbacks.
Abysmal power play check, blowing a 3-1 lead check. Yeah. I mean, funny you should bring that up, Lindsay. I just actually in the last 24 hours binged through all 5 episodes of the All or Nothing for the Leafs. And I did. I looked for Hackstall. He was on there for maybe 10 seconds of screen time, talking about the power play, but not saying anything, like most hockey coaches do. I guess that's one of the things I thought of while watching that, and I think that it can apply to the Kraken because I think it applies to a lot of sports, is certainly in a sport like hockey where guys are coming into the league, your superstars are coming in at 18. You got some of your secondary best players coming in at the age of 19, and then the rest of the guys coming in 20, 21. You're talking about young guys that are, yes, they're immature, just, mentally, all that kind of stuff, but their play still needs to, they still need to be taught, right? The teaching aspect of coaching still needs to be there. We've seen plenty of those moments. I've broken some down with the whiteboard and other ways, right, on this channel about, the defense needing to do certain things. In certain situations, this is just how you need to play, right? And I feel like in the NHL, there's a lot of coaching staffs that kind of assume the player knows everything by the time they get to the NHL. So their job is just to motivate them, usually by starting every sentence with the F word, and to, just kind of get things going and just, do whatever. And I feel like that's probably what's happening in the Kraken's locker room. That's what it feels like. Yes, Lauzon got better as the year has gone on a little bit at times. Other guys have gotten better. Some have gotten a little worse maybe. But I just feel like there needs to be this emphasis kind of league-wide, sport-wide about, there's still stuff to learn, right? You always watch anything, whether you're watching something about even the NFL, Hard Knocks, right? The coaches are never teaching the young players anything. They're learning everything from the older players. And I think that that's something that can be brought back in, is the idea that, maybe the coaches teach you the nuances of the game instead of you having to rely on an other player. And I think especially on a team like this, where everybody's thrown together, nobody really knows each other. You don't have that established hierarchy of leadership, right? Like, yes, everybody kind of de facto to Giordano being the team captain and the team leader, but still for younger guys like Lauzon, younger guys that are still learning certain things like Susie or Fleury even, right? Like, you kind of need that hierarchy of players, because it just seems like the coaching staffs don't, teach.
Yeah.
So that was a long tangent. You're welcome. This loss is pretty squarely on Grubauer. Again, I kind of disagree with that. I think it's on everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. Can we refuse a power play? Unfortunately not. Coyotes certainly seemed more determined tonight, 1,000%. They were all go. They won the game that they deserved to win. Yeah.
Yep.
The Kraken lead the league in fewest shots allowed with 26.2 per game. They held the Coyotes to 22 shots. They are doing some good things. You can hold teams to low shot totals, but what are the quality of shots that you're allowing?
Exactly.
It's
it's
vice versa too. With the Kraken were leading the league in shots for, but again, of what quality? You can have 1,000 shots that you're shooting right into a goalie's chest. It doesn't matter if the one shot the other way is picking the corner.
Yep. Yeah, I think you have to look at shot quality for a game like tonight. Overall, I think the shot quality allowed has been like pretty decent, but tonight it was certainly 22 doesn't tell the whole story for sure.
Yeah, seems like we let opponents screen Grubauer too easily. Generally, we've been doing an okay job of not letting people be directly in front of Grubauer. However, tonight there were certainly times where shots from a little bit further out, there were just a lot of bodies in the way.
Yep. And that was a problem. And, it's tough, like on the Kessel power play goal, because like when you're short a man, that's just, there's going to be an extra guy there somewhere.
Right.
And if they want to have him screening, that's going to be where he's going to be. But that's why you don't want to go shorthanded.
Yeah, I mean, the de facto way to kill a penalty is just to kind of like consolidate and come in tight like that, make sure rebounds aren't gotten to. Reminiscent of a Martin Jones performance. You want to comment on that one, RJ?
I as bad as it was, I don't think it's that. I think there's another level to get to before you get to a Martin Jones performance.
Yeah. Is the defense and power play a coaching problem? Yeah,
Yes.
for the most part. Some of the defensive miscues, it's on the player to like kind of, keep your head up, look for the, the man, play the man, not the puck.
The power play certainly.
But the power play for sure. And like I did say, some of the defensive stuff, you could be teaching that. You could be in their ear reminding them that, so that it doesn't happen 4 times in one game. You can't get the bounces when your power play has the wrong personnel to create space in front of the net and get rebounds. Potting rebounds isn't just puck luck. I agree with that. Part of the problem is, when they're so focused on passing back to the point and then having the point take the shot. The problem is guys like Vince Dunn, he doesn't shoot low from the point, which is great when he scores high. He can pick a corner or something. But the rest of the time, you kind of want that Adam Larson heavy low shot, because that's how you're going to even get the rebound. The problem is they're not even creating rebounds to potentially score with. Like, forget about not converting them. They're just not even getting the rebounds to begin with, because they're just, shooting right into the chest, and then the goalie can just swallow it up.
Yep. And a couple more comments down in the chat. Gord did take one shot wide left on the power play that resulted in a shorthanded rush going the other way. There's those shots from the sides. If you don't, get the right angle on it, it can result in the puck going back the other way. Even less a rebound for yourself.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Those shots from the half boards, it's a bad angle shot. Like, it's a tough angle to make. We need to play Drieger or Decord until Grubauer fixes himself. I mean, I definitely think we're going to see Drieger, unless the coaching staff really thinks they need to throw Grubauer back out there to kind of rebound.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
I really hope
not. I wouldn't, but it wouldn't surprise me if
especially because it's going to be against Vegas.
Yep.
That's going to be rough. The game-winning
Yeah, I saw
goal.
some comments later in the chat about it. We'll talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna hit this super
Oh,
chat here from Brian. Thank you very much for the $20. That means a lot.
oh, thank you,
Thanks.
Brian.
Yeah, thanks for all your guys' insights. If you had to trade a forward and defenseman, who would it be and why? Well, I would.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I would trade Lauzon. That one's easy.
Defenseman, yeah, defenseman Lazon. Hopefully, he's got a good enough like audition there to get some value for him. Forward.
I mean, it's tough because I feel like everybody's been pretty. There's been good stuff from everybody at least
right,
one
and I
point
feel
or
like
another.
from that forward group, you'd need to add more than subtract.
Yes, because you need someone with more goal scoring ability, someone who's a little more of an offensive.
Yeah, you'd want to
or a
like trade
shooting
Lazon for a
mind.
finisher or something.
Right.
But I for with the $20 super chat, I do not want to shortchange you
right,
on the answer, so
right.
I will give you someone.
You know what? One that I would potentially consider saying is Wenberg. I know you just signed him as a free agent. You're not going to trade him, but he would be someone I would consider trading just because he doesn't really fit with other guys. Like, we haven't seen him build chemistry. He doesn't seem to fit the system that everybody else is trying to run. So in that sense,
yeah, and you know, I will agree with that one. And we talked about in our podcast Q&A, there was a question like hypothetically, who are the 7, who are the players you would protect on the Kraken if there was like another expansion draft? And I left Wenberg as one of the exposed players, and I think that's kind of why. I don't know that. It would probably be a bad look NHL wise, given that you just signed him so recently and he's kind of committed his future to Seattle. So, but that would be the main impediment. But if that wasn't a problem, then probably Wenberg.
Yeah, but without saying just some, like fourth line or somebody who's been a scratch a lot, that's who I would say. So the next question's about what happened on that last goal. And so I'm rewatching it again right now just to see. This is from Clowny17. So basically what happens on that last goal is Larson goes to play the puck in the corner, kind of whiffs on it. It gets by him. His defensive partner goes around to the back of the net, usually where they're going to be, because you're assuming Larson is going to stop that, but his back is to the rest of the ice. Usually he'll just send it along the rest of the boards over to the other defenseman, who can then start skating forward and break it out. Larson fails to stop it, also doesn't give it enough momentum to keep going. He stops most of the momentum. So now the puck is just kind of dead sitting there. It gets dug out, thrown out in front to Lawson Krause of the Coyotes, who's sitting all alone in the slot because it was Wenberg and I forget which other forward it was. Both were just watching the puck. They weren't playing the man. Lawson Krause, like they both had the jump. They could have easily tied up Lawson Krause, not let him get a shot off, or at least slowed him enough that Grubauer can be set for the shot. But both guys were just watching the puck. They weren't looking for a defensive assignment at all. So that's how you essentially get 2 Coyotes against 4 Kraken players, and you get that, prime scoring opportunity like that.
Yep. I mean, good breakdown.
Yeah. Actually really like the D pairs tonight. Finally see Lauzon scratched. I like that, that Lauzon was
These
out.
These are the 6 that we wanted. Like we talked about this before. These are the 6 that we wanted. And we did talk about it earlier. Just let's not see the Fleury Larson pair again.
Yeah, no, that one's got to go. What's going on with Donskoy? It was
He is still in the no goal club this season.
Yeah, but not for lack of effort.
He has 5 assists. He's generating off, or 5 going into this game, so he's generating offense.
Yeah, and as far as tonight, he was very quiet tonight, especially after the last couple games he's had. He's been really good so far, recently. I just think a lot of guys struggled tonight.
Yeah,
overall, I
wouldn't be too concerned about him.
Yeah, things broke down pretty fast in the second period. No one was playing to the system at all. Everybody was just kind of scrambling. You can tell they were in panic mode a lot in the defensive zone, and I think that hurts guys like Donskoy or even Yanni Gord, who work off of, kind of knowing what the system is and then how they can create around that, because they know where like other guys are going to be. When the system breaks down, it gets a lot harder for them to be creative like that. This is from Braun. Nice to hear from you, Braun. Hey guys, obviously this was trash and work needs to be done, but we knew this team was going to have some growing pains. Easy to be concerned with such a small sample size, but it's a long season. Yeah, and we've been preaching that for most of the year.
Yeah, like it's not
To
Shane
be
Wright season
patient.
yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. It was just like I said, there was some stuff in this game that I felt like we hadn't seen yet that was a little more concerning. That mostly being how quickly things broke down structurally, the fact that they didn't fix that at any point. Nobody decided to reset and get everybody back on track,
Yeah.
and just the kind of lack of effort and
Yeah.
laziness.
With other games, the underlying signs have still been good, but this game, that obviously wasn't the case.
Yeah. Maybe coach doesn't. Yeah, maybe coach doesn't last, but that's part of the journey. I will admit, Grubauer's situation is probably the scariest part. Yeah, you've committed a lot to Grubauer. I've
been saying since before the expansion draft, you never want to sign goalies to that kind of term. I don't care who it is. That the contract can look bad well before you even think it should. I obviously, I'm not saying anything about, Grubauer like longer term or anything, but just goaltending's weird. Sometimes you pay for elite goaltending and this is what you get sometimes. It's just, that's how it works out. And that's why, what was, I saw it on Twitter. I want to give credit to the proper person, but I'm blanking on who it is. Don't pay for goalies, pray for goalies.
Yes.
That's the proper way to go about it.
That is something, but yeah, I mean, goalies, they get hot and cold throughout a season, and they get hot and cold for seasons as a whole. Guys will go through slumps in the middle of their careers. I think Flower is the perfect example of that. Marc-Andre Fleury, right? Like, fabulous start to his career, unplayable for a stretch of time, gets benched, and then reinvents himself in Vegas to become one of the top goalies again. And it just, and I'm just using that as an example.
Wins a Vezina and it's like the late 30s, incredible. Yeah. And now is one of the bottom 3 goalies in goals saved above expected this year.
Well, he's playing
goaltending is voodoo.
Plays on a really bad team, but yes, I was just using that to illustrate that goalies go up and down year to year. Sometimes, if they play a lot of hockey the year prior, the next year they're not so great just because they're still kind of worn out from that. We see that with playoff teams that go deep into the playoffs, right? Montreal, they played a lot of hockey last year that really wore down those guys. Yeah. Agreed on Larson.
Binnington is another good example, like Fleury, Brian points out. Yep.
Yeah.
You see it all over.
Agreed on Larson Fleury pair, definitely Fleury Dunn. Susie Dunn didn't look great either, but then nothing did. Yeah. I would play either Susie with Larson or make it Alexiak and Larson again, have Fleury up with Giordano, and then Susie Dunn.
Yeah.
That's probably
there's
what
some
I
ways
would
to
do.
make it work, yeah.
It feels like Vegas is a must win.
I mean in the grander scheme of things, no, it's not. But certainly in the small and medium picture, it sure does feel like that.
Yeah, what you want? Obviously, we want to win.
It's a must rebound.
Barring that, you have to at least look good. You have to go out there and skate hard. You got to go out there, finish checks. You got to go out there, score a goal or two. Just look like you got that you're disappointed in that loss. That's what you got to do. D was in shambles without our boy Lauzon. Just kidding. Yes.
We did joke about that, texting back and forth. It's like, 2 goals. Like that's the first 2 goals. Lauzon was holding him back.
Yeah.
The last one. Oh.
What is the thought on a Susie plus Larson pairing? We saw it a little bit earlier in the season, and it was fine, I thought, because Susie's really tried to up his game as far as breakouts and stuff like that, and Larson is totally willing to let his partner do stuff like that. So I thought it was fine. Am I wrong, or are the Yotes 1-10 this season with us giving them their first win? I think that makes it worse. If so, they are 1-10-1, and yes, the one win is tonight.
Yep, this was their first win of the season.
Yeah. Also, it looks like we have the second or third worst record this season, going 4-7 with 12 games played. Is that right?
4-7-1.
I mean, it
is toward the bottom. Yeah, I think. Yeah, Kraken are back at last place in the Pacific, I believe.
Yeah, man, makes you want to start drinking whiskey instead of Gatorade. Nothing's gonna make me stop drinking Gatorade, okay? But yes, it makes you want to do stuff, that's for sure. it's supposed to be impossible to be 33rd in a 32 league team on the power play, but the Kraken have managed to do that. Ditch the 1-3-1 already, for crying out loud. Yeah, or let players skate. Like don't
Yeah.
all everyone be anchored to the ground. I don't know why that seems so impossible to do. Let's start playing musical chairs with the D pairs and let the ones that have worked best build some chemistry. The only silver lining I think of is that now maybe ticket prices will be cheaper at Climate Pledge Arena. Not sure that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
Um, or at least, yeah, I mean, maybe later in the season.
I don't know.
But
For the Montreal game, like after the early losing, like I noticed ticket prices, they certainly weren't cheap, but they were cheaper than they had been. So we might start to see a little bit of that.
Yeah, we're still going to be up there probably.
For like Tuesday games on, against an Eastern opponent or something.
Yes, but yes, if we don't see D pairs kind of revert back to what was working those last couple of games, that's a problem.
Yeah.
All the stuff about the dog, glad everybody loves her as much as I do. On the power play, maybe try a guy along the low wall for puck retrieval. That's kind of what the Penguins
we're just at
do.
The dog stuff, man. We're behind in the chat.
I
Sorry,
know,
guys.
I know. Sorry, guys, it's been slow.
There's been so
Lots
much
of stuff to talk
so
about.
much to talk about. Like we haven't even got to the Donato injury. We haven't got to like
I
the
know.
geeky press conference yesterday. Like there's just so much.
Yeah, but
anyway. Sorry,
I know, but like we're recording the podcast. The geeky stuff can be on the podcast. We're recording
that'll be on the
tomorrow
podcast.
for Monday.
We'll talk about that.
On the power play, maybe try a guy along the low wall for puck retrieval. That's kind of what the guy up front is supposed to do. He kind of plays off to the side of the net a little bit instead of directly screening the goalie. And then if the puck goes behind the net, they ditch down there. Okay, yeah, Hackstall needs to take some responsibility for this one. Yeah, Larson looked awful on the game-winning goal. Yeah, you got to make that play. You got to stop that puck. Vegas game seems huge for reading how the team will respond. Yep, we kind of just talked about that. The Arizona broadcast team, it was
here we go.
It was Krause's first multi-goal game ever. So now we were making goalies look like Vezina winners and slow, thick-legged defensemen like McDavid, broadcast team said. So Larson isn't a defenseman, but yes, he is not known for his goal-scoring prowess. And he looked pretty darn good tonight. Worthy of that first round pick you and I saw him taken as.
Yeah, Lawson Krause is someone Dylan and I have been kind of joking about since the day he was drafted, really. We were
Same day as McDavid.
Yep.
Slightly later, but probably not as later as it should have been. They need to figure it out sooner than later. We're a fourth of the way through the season now. Not too late to turn things around, but if this does go on much longer, we are foobarred. Not quite a quarter of the way through the season, but yeah, as we get closer, you want to see some of this stuff.
Thanksgiving is a key date.
Yeah.
There's still enough time there, but yeah, it's can't let this go for too much longer.
Yeah, hopefully McCann will be back soon. I would assume he is. He would be back soon. Any updates there?
Nope, still in COVID protocol, and as we found out with COVID protocol, they're just not talking. I do want to take this opportunity though to plug our new feature on our website. It's our injury report. So as you all probably know, I'm covering the Kraken. I'm going to the to practices, to morning skates, all of that, and so I'm kind of getting the latest news that the team is telling us about injuries, whatnot. So if you're ever wondering what the injury situation or COVID situation for a player is, the absolute latest that I know, I am putting on the injuries page. It's one of the main tabs on the main menu of our website. Make sure to check that out.
Yeah, good plug. Being the new expansion team, I wonder if teams gear up more for that particular game, like playing against the current Stanley Cup champion. Maybe. I mean, is this one of those you want to establish dominance over the new guy thing?
Maybe. I mean, we certainly see that situations in other areas of life.
Yeah. Coming into the season, we were expecting a lot of close games. Apparently, sometimes you have to play down to your competition to make that happen. From Rexology. Glad you've been here for this one today. You've had some good ones tonight. Why were they taking puck into zone and immediately going towards the boards, allowing D to squeeze them? Why take their own space away? That was something, again, when they reverted back to their bad habits from that first road trip. That was one of the things they did. You and I very familiar with the whole dump and chase, Daryl Sutter Kings nonsense, right? Nonsense that won him 2 Stanley Cups, but nonsense nonetheless. But the Kraken weren't doing that. They were just going in, and then they were doing what, we said they should do against McDavid, right? Force them into the boards. They can't go anywhere, and their options are severely limited. Only they were just doing it to themselves, and maybe the Coyotes would just put one person on them, and they were just like, I'm stuck. Oh no! Like at least dump it deeper into the zone, and then go heavy on the forecheck and hit somebody. Like you can't just kill the whole offensive rush on your own by doing that. You gotta either cut towards the middle, or you got to, power through, or you got to dump and chase, but you can't do what they were doing tonight.
No, can't.
Aren't we more like an eighth of the way through the season? Yeah, we're kind of reaching, getting more towards.
I just ran the numbers real quick. 14.6%.
There you go.
12 games out of 82.
Yeah. This is from I cheer for Ottawa and Seattle, and they've given out those first wins to Chicago and now Arizona. That's rough.
That's rough.
That is rough.
But the future is bright in Ottawa. Let me tell you, the future is bright. It'll get better. And hopefully here too.
Yeah. 12 games out of 56 is 21%. Yeah, but we're back to the 82 game schedule now.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, but later in the chat they got I think Alex was on it.
Yeah. This is from Harley. Thanks to you both for hosting these discussions. The game didn't air here again, and relying on SM posts for updates. Glad to listen in here as well. Early days for the Kraken, power play and defense with the eyes emoji. Yep. But glad you can join us, Harley, and glad you're enjoying the coverage from us. Yeah, it's an 82-game season. Last season was short because of the COVID stuff. Yep, we just talked about that. Let's see. How on earth did the crackheads blow it, RJ?
That's what this post game's all about.
Yeah, and maybe we've given answers. I don't know. It's a rough one. That Thanksgiving week of games from November 19th to 27th is going to be tough, though, versus Colorado, versus Washington, versus Carolina, at Tampa Bay, and then Florida. That is a brutal stretch of games.
And that Tampa, Florida, those are back-to-backs, too.
Yeah,
have fun with that one.
That is.
I just hope they give
really
Drieger the start against Florida. I want to see that.
I mean, you have to. I know, you never have to be doing any of these things, but hockey coaches usually are aware of things like that, and usually they get the start. That is something, though, that I talked about a little bit earlier with my dad, actually. When you have, a goalie that's been traded or just signed to a new team, and then you're facing their old team, are you in favor of starting them for that game? Because it's one of those where
usually not, because the shooters tend to know more. I think the shooters get more of an advantage than the goalie does.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you, because he's got the book on all the shooters, but the shooters all got the book on him. Which of those seems more valuable? But you already answered.
I would say the shooters having the book seems more valuable. Maybe it's just that I play forward or whatever, and if I know a goalie, I feel like I can confidently beat him. But totally different at that level.
Yeah. Let's see here. I don't see why the Coyotes are moving. Their crowd was amazing tonight, but then again, it was a Friday night. In real life, their stadium is old and clunky. Yeah, never want a stadium to be called clunky. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like a lot of that crowd was visiting fans.
Yep.
So that kind of,
to me anyway,
kind of plays into things a little bit there.
And that arena is just so tough to get to from downtown Phoenix. It's like a 20-minute drive out there. And I think that leads to a lot of their attendance woes.
I'm so off of everything growing up in Southern California. I'm like 20 minutes. That's so close by.
Okay. Yeah. But
take me 2 hours to get to a Kings
right
game
in downtown, and the Diamondbacks right in downtown.
Yeah.
It is a hassle, and it's 20 minutes without traffic. So take that into account.
Yeah, for sure. Big sigh. There's always next year with Matty Beniers. Yeah. But there's still plenty this year. Come on.
Yeah,
we'll try to, as we near the end of this, we'll try to get positive again. What's the story on the lack of media presser room at Climate Pledge?
At Climate Pledge, there is a media presser room.
I'm watching these Oilers pressers with the fans at the window wall. Why can't the Kraken have something that cool?
Fans at the window wall. Oh,
I mean, is it like a good, day LA or Good Morning America thing or whatever, where they got a
where they have
window
the
behind
fans
them?
back there? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I will say, there is like a media presser room like that because that's the post game. Where I go down for the press box into the media room. They've got it. They got a table set up and everything, and cameras and whatnot. And you can see it on the videos that they post on
Hmm.
the YouTube channel of the interviews and everything. What they don't have is like a media presser room at the Kraken Iceplex yet. We're still kind of waiting on that one, so we have to like do it at this podium that's like right by the first rink. Like you can see it if you go to the Iceplex. It's just like right there, which that causes a little difficulty when they're still practicing sometimes, and you get puck sounds. But
Hmm.
hopefully we'll get one soon.
Yeah. This is from Nick. I'm depressed. My Kraken lost and my Penguins lost, so I am eating a fruit roll up. If I had a fruit roll up, I'd be right there with you, Nick, because my Kraken lost and my Penguins lost too.
There you go.
On a night that was tough to watch, here's a bright spot within the organization. Matty Beniers scored. Did he score 4 goals tonight, or the last
The
couple
Michigan
games?
series the last 2
Yeah,
years.
yeah. No, he's
Yeah.
been playing really, really well. All those that team.
He had a nice one today on like working the point on the power play. He's
Yeah,
shooting it through a bunch of traffic. Like he's looked great. I mean, future's bright for him, and he's going to help out a lot next season.
yeah. No, I'm excited for him. This is what kind of both him and Ron Francis talked about him going back to college this year, was to kind of work on his offensive game, because that was the the weakest area and the weakest aspect of it. So glad to
Yep.
see that he's working there. The concessions were pretty cheap compared to Seattle. I would imagine
Not
a lot of
surprised.
places are. Um, just bought my tickets for the Florida road trip. Yay! That's from Alex. Enjoy.
Oh,
That should
that'll be good.
fun. If Donato goes on IR, who would you call up? Or is Johansson close to coming back now that he's started practicing?
I would think that's probably the way it would go. Is Johansson? Okay, so another injury update here, which is again is all in the injuries tab. But Johansson and Blackwell both practiced with the team for the first time yesterday at practice. They ran through the drills. They were doing things. They weren't in no contact jerseys. They didn't skate, into the line rushes. And Hackstall did say after practice that there's no update on their status. There's still, no change in status. They're still out, still injured. So don't know exactly how close they are, but obviously that's a good sign if they're getting back to kind of fully practicing with the team. So it might coincide that way. You might call someone up like an Alex True maybe from Charlotte if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I think True would be the guy, and I still feel bad for him doing all those morning pressers about starting in that Vegas game opening night, and then having to sit down.
It'd be good for him to get into a game, and especially like in Vegas, just like that first game is supposed to have would be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, bring him up for Tuesday.
Yep.
Um, let's see. That Arizona sunshine must have gotten to them. Yep. It's very
It's
different
brutal.
from the Pacific Northwest. Pressers at the Iceplex is a brutal video to watch / listen to. That's from Brian.
Yeah, it's I'll have my phone out recording, and sometimes it doesn't really get a whole lot.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
From the Sandpipes, Riker Evans has been playing well too. 3 goals plus 11 assists in 13 games for Regina. Yeah,
How about
been
those
on
numbers?
Yeah, been on a tear. I mean, he looked pretty good in some of the preseason stuff too.
Yep.
So,
He did. Yeah, I would expect him to compete for a spot on the team next season. I think he's going to force him to keep him around.
Yeah. We're getting our mojo back. That's right. Johansson. Do you think
Hopefully soon.
do you think they'll send my boy Max McCormick down again when they're back from injuries, or do you think they'll find a spot for him in the lineup? My guess is they're going to send him down.
Yeah, that's my guess, unfortunately. Lindsay, any relation? Any relation there?
No, we've gone
Lindsay
over this.
McCormick, Max
Got
McCormick?
over this.
Oh, have you?
before.
Okay,
No,
I wasn't there for it.
nothing there.
Okay.
Or at least they said before.
But I've liked what I've seen from him, though. I mean, his forecheck, caused a lot of the chaos that led to that Nathan Bastian goal. It was a bad turnover by Labushkin, but he was right in there kind of creating the chaos there. In practice, he's had a few like snipes top corner where it's just like, whoa, okay, you've got a shot. So yeah, I like what I've seen from him.
Yeah.
But it's a numbers game.
Yeah, and the other guys you'd be looking at would be like Bastion, right? But he had like a goal tonight and stuff, so it's It's just one
Yep.
of those things. This is the problem with the depth of an expansion team. There's just not enough spots for everybody. They need to work on the defense next practice. Do you think you would win by scoring 4 goals in a game? Ideally, you would want to win scoring 4 goals in a game. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty to work on in practice after this one. Wish they would mic the questions. It's weird only hearing the answer without knowing the entire question in the pressers.
You know, I've seen that on all the comments.
Yep.
Like yeah, on all the videos, all the comments is always just like, "Will you please like mic the questions? We can't hear the questions." Yeah. It's tough. If there's like, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's really quiet. I mean, that to me, it made the whole geeky Pizza Hut stuff really hard because you just couldn't quite hear the questions. Like you're hearing
it's
one
like,
half
it was
of a
seamless
conversation.
to me because I was there and I like remembered it. But if you couldn't, like, it's hard to hear. Which is why I was trying to like transcribe it for people, like, but still.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, you wouldn't even necessarily know it was about Pizza Hut.
Yep.
Like, he doesn't really say it. So yeah. Real quick to Brian again with the super chat. Okay, last call. I'm off to bed. Just wanted to give RJ a shout out for the brilliant presser with Kiki. You two were hilarious in that exchange. Yes.
That was so funny. Although I will say, I got to give credit to Ryan Clark of The Athletic. He's the one who was asking the questions about Pizza Hut. Like, you know, credit to, right. He's a funny guy too. Like he's always asking about funny stuff like that. But yeah, that was like, Geeky had us all just like rolling laughing. Like Ryan's just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. He was just like slumped over on the pole next to the podium. Just hilarious.
Yeah, and if you don't know what they're referring to, go check out our Twitter, Emerald City HKY.
I think I still have it pinned. That one did numbers. That's definitely been
right.
our most
got
popular tweet.
Got a response from Pizza Hut themselves. So
Yep.
that was pretty cool. And that I think might have had something to do with the numbers. Maybe just a little. Let's see. McCormick is a fill-in, but probably first online to send down. No relation, but that would be cheaper than a custom jersey if he played better. Lol from Lindsay. Yeah, that would be kind of sweet. Maybe one of my teams will sign Brock Nelson one of these days. That's from Alex. Because Alex Nelson. Yep. Yeah. Turn on closed caption for the interviews. You can read what is asked. Sometimes, and I have done that before.
Okay.
If it's been transcribed and everything, because you have to on some of them.
Oh, the sandpipes. Okay. I was wondering if someone was going to ask about this because it only caught the tail end of the Star Wars exchange. So basically what happened is he was coming in while already having a conversation with someone. And basically he was talking about like, I try to never look excited because like that way, like no one can ask me like, what, you don't look like excited or anything. And you like, they can't tell if you're not excited, if like you just never look excited and they don't know what that looks like. So, and I think it like catches the tail end and I was like, well, you don't know if I'm not excited if I don't look it. And then she asks like, oh, is that some kind of like Jedi mind trick? He's like, well, I don't know. I've only seen one Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
And then it goes into the rest. So that's what that was about.
Yeah, and I mean, even as you were explaining that, I'm just like, what does this have to do with Star Wars?
Yeah, no, she just asked, is that some kind of Jedi mind trick? And he's
okay.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for the clarification there.
That was a funny moment in itself, too.
Yeah. It's amazing when a player's allowed to show emotion. I mean, other sports get that all the time. Can you imagine? It's nuts.
I know, yeah. What it must be like to cover those.
Yeah.
To have covered Marshawn Lynch in Seattle, like, wow.
Seattle sports prepared me for this game. No emotions, just pain. Yeah, they happen.
That in the city.
These are the times for any sports fan that are rough, but it's also what makes the highs feel that much better. You got to go through it. Have to add, been a 40-year plus Leafs fan and still watches local. They are smoking lately. Still, my heart is with the Kraken and have loads of faith. It's in the early days. People need to chill. The nasty posts. Yeah, I think it's just been especially rough after this one. Emotions are raw.
40-year lead will really put it all in perspective, won't it? With the Kraken's difficulties.
Yeah, and yeah, so you understand. Emotions are raw after a game like that, but I think we've been trying to end on a more positive note, and I think we'll go ahead and end it here. As always, everybody, thanks for joining us. Thanks for all of the questions. The show really wouldn't be this without all of you. So definitely want to give you all a
Absolutely.
shout out. I will be honest, I was surprised, how many people
I know we
had
got a lot of
tonight.
people after a game like that, which is, I
Hmm.
mean, it's really cool to see. And like, talk about ending on a positive note. Like,
Yeah.
you guys are great.
And a lot of new faces too. Had some regulars and some new ones. So hope all of you come back next time. So I guess with that, good night, everybody. Or good evening, or good morning for some of you. I know we got people from all over the world. Um, Plug merch. That's right. Go get the
Oh
merch.
yeah,
Speaking of the
we get the
geeky.
merch.
Speaking of
Yep.
geeky.
I mean, like, look at the personality show. Like, don't you want a Geeky Squad T-shirt? Like,
Yep.
come on.
Yeah.
We
All
got to
right.
work on a pizza one.
Yeah. We'll get that going. That should be easy enough. Minus all the copyrights that we got to sift through.
Yeah,
That-
swerve around.
yeah. All right. See you,
All
everybody.
right.